Jessi Draper from The Secret Lives of Mormon. The Secret Lives of Mormon. I don't know what it's called. The Momtok. Jessi Draper. She seems like she's not one of the more popular ones of the show. And she is a sun in Gemini. And looks like moon in Pisces. We don't have her birth time, but it's showing moon in Pisces somewhere in the middle of the sign. So here's the thing. Sun in Gemini. Here's the thing about Gemini. Usually there is some element of being a trickster. In all cases with Gemini, there's almost never ever getting around these traits or these so-called negative traits of Gemini. And this, I think this is one of the reasons why people don't like astrology, because they don't want to admit, they don't want to admit I just did the dark side of Gemini video. They don't want to admit the dark side to themselves. I'm all for admitting it. It doesn't really make you a bad person. It is what it is. And it could even be like, you could think of, well, there's some really good people out there. There's some saints that were Geminis, etc. And that might be true, but they probably have a little bit of a trickster side to them. Or something that goes with Gemini, with this negative side of Gemini. Why do I bring that up when it comes to her? Because all of the Momtok women, all of them, anyone on television has this element to them. And many of them won't admit it because it's kind of like accepted in society. But there's no question that these women are trying to essentially take the most of life. And my opinion, I don't think that's a good way to live. I don't think that's across the board is probably. I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna say anything else. But and speaking of that, living the good life, she's got her Venus in Taurus, and her Mercury is in Taurus, and the Venus is at 29 degrees. The Venus is with the sun. Many times you see Venus with the sun, you're going to see an attractive person, a physically attractive person. Venus being at 29 degrees of Taurus, this is showing more of this element of she's about money, she's about the good life, luxury, and she is a hairstylist. I have her bio up here. Says she's a hairdresser, influencer, owner of Jay-Z Style. So Venus being obviously correlating with being a hairdresser for sure. So there's that. This big Taurus. There's a lot of Taurus with these girls, even if you don't see it in their zodiac sign. And this isn't very difficult. You know, you see people that aren't into, like, they see this chart and they just kind of like, they just roll their eyes. They can't look at it. It's not that difficult. You look at the chart, there's a sun in Gemini, and there's two important planets in Taurus. And there's more to the story. So the one thing that gives her, I think, that would have like a mitigating, this is where it kind of can fool people as well. There's this mitigating factor of the moon in Pisces. Now I knew a sun in Gemini, moon in Pisces. Okay, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. Came across very nice. This was in a workplace scenario. Came across very nice, very friendly, very flirty, and then out of nowhere, she turned on me and was saying things that were not true. They made no sense. They were very delusional, and that's the thing. This Pisces, it can fool you, because this girl definitely was a trickster. She definitely was. She definitely had the dark side of Gemini to her, and she hasn't. I mean, it really comes down to this idea of shadow work. You know, if you do work on yourself and you really come to terms with all this, it's not a problem. But when you don't, and especially when you're young and you don't have anyone teaching you this, then these things are going to happen. So she has this Pisces, and she probably comes across like this amazing person, amazing woman, into beauty, big family, etc., etc. And she has Mars in Aries as well. So there's that go-getter. Mars rules Aries. There's that go-getter to her. I mean, oftentimes you see these family people, these I call them these family people, these big families in the picture where they're all together and stuff like that. Look, they got Taurus and Aries. Almost all, I see them all the time. Almost always they have this, it's like this drive for these primal security things. I love pointing it out too. I'm sorry, I love it. I've seen it so many times. And like I said, if people would just admit it and own up to it, but they won't. They'll put all kinds of things in front of it, religious things. And anyway, she also has this nice Saturn in Aquarius at 18 degrees Aquarius. And she has Jupiter in Virgo. So let's look at this Jupiter in Virgo. So the real story, the story that just came up is that she got divorced. Her husband filed for divorce. And let's see if there's any transits. There is a Uranus. Uranus is currently right on her sun. As the moment that she's getting a divorce, it's on her sun. And you think of Uranus as being like changes, unexpected changes. I mean, I'm not sure, did she expect her husband to throw this on her? I don't know the exact story, but that's what it looks like in the chart, that Uranus comes over her sun, boom, her life's going to change dramatically. And we can see the ruler is Mercury, and Mercury's in Taurus. It's with Venus, so we can see, kind of get some clue that this has to do with relationships. Could have to do with money, but they usually go hand in hand with a marriage, but definitely has to do with relationships. It's going to shake up that Taurus. These planets in Taurus, it's going to shake up that stability that she has. See if there's any other. The sun is making a inconjunct to the North Node that's in Capricorn. So maybe something could have been done about this, quite possibly. With that inconjunct, there may be some tough decisions that had to be made. I think I did read that it was a tough decision for him to make this decision, but I'm just speculating now because I don't know the whole story. But Jupiter, back to this Jupiter in Virgo. Virgo almost always signifies trouble to me, unless the synastry is really, really good amongst partners, friends, co-workers, etc. It just almost always, when you see a strong Virgo person involved, again, that hasn't done the shadow work, that doesn't really understand Virgo, and able to catch themselves, especially with Jupiter and Virgo. We see she has her Jupiter sun in a square. Why am I saying all that? It's just this notion of being so picky and so in your head and can't let go. It's the opposite of Pisces. Now she has that Pisces moon, so that might be a little bit of a mitigating factor, that she is somewhat aware of this, aware of these traits, because easier said than done. But at the end of the day, Pisces, if it's not hurting you, like I think the big thing about Pisces and letting go is when there's money involved, when there's survival involved. That's when it can get dangerous. Particularly if your natal chart shows a certain way. It just makes me think of a homeless person, and seeing people on the street and drug addicts that really in a sense are really, really letting go and going with the flow in a bad way. And that's why I say, outside of those circumstances, just like in her case, she would have a lot of money. Let's assume she has a lot of money, and she could let go on a lot of stupid things that that Virgo traits would get hung up on. So there's that. And you see it, and the thing is, you see it all the time even with people that have a lot of money. They still, it's not like they're excused from their natal chart, from their personality, from the things that bug them, etc. It's not exactly like that. You'd think it would be easier for them, but it's not really. It really isn't. So there's this big, let's look at the Jupiter. It's at 5 degrees. It's also making a trine to the North Node. And I mean, it might be making an exact opposition to the Moon. We don't know. It's in a square to the Venus. It's in a square to the Mercury. So you can see at some point in the life, there would be trouble around this Sun, Venus, Mercury, Taurus stuff, money, relationship. You could almost see this coming a mile away when you look at the transit. You see Saturn's coming up on a transit to Mars as well. So yeah, let me know if anyone actually is watching this to the end. Let me know what you think if you're watching this show. If you know more about it than me, let me know what you think down in the comments. She's the oldest of the Momtok. It says here. 800,000 TikTok followers. Where do we see that in the chart? Saturn in Aquarius, maybe? Saturn, Mars, sextile. Saturn in its home sign. Mars in its home sign. There's probably more if I look a little bit deeper, but I'm gonna wrap this one up. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.